So Terraria 1.4 has been out on Switch for about 2 weeks and I've been having an absolute blast with it. I've said many times that the Switch edition is actually my second favorite way to play Terraria, but I was always talking about the version from Pipeworks Studio, and as you all know, over the past couple of years, we've had a newer, much improved version on both mobile and console from DR Studios. Well, the Switch finally has 1.4, so I want to give you a mini review. I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and something that I would love to see in the future if DR can pull it off. Let's get into it. So starting off with the good, this is Terraria 1.4. Everything from that May 2020 update has been brought over. So you now have access to Master Mode, Journey Mode, new enemies, new bosses, new events, quality of life changes like block swap, atmospheric and weather updates. You have the bestiary, new mini biomes, golf, town pylons, NPC happiness, and about 1 million graphical overhauls. Not only that, it runs incredibly well, even better than the Pipeworks edition, which I always thought run pretty well, but would lag quite a lot when the game was auto-saving, meaning if it happened during a boss fight, it was pretty much impossible to win. The DR Studio version just runs insanely well, and most importantly, it is stable. But don't get me wrong, it's not the best looking version of Terraria. As you can see in this video, some things have clearly been downscaled to get it to run at this level. But at the end of the day, if you can make it run and make it stable, I don't particularly care how it looks. It's Terraria. Come on. It's a gorgeous game with gorgeous artwork, but it doesn't need to be in crisp 4K to be an enjoyable experience. So for me, the reason I love playing Switch Terraria is because you have access to controllers, but also the touchscreen. If you want to play this game in handheld, you're going to have an amazing experience because you control everything with the controllers, but when you want to do something that's a little bit finicky, like organizing your inventory or sorting out your chesting system, all you got to do is move all of that around using your finger, kind of like you would on a smartphone. So it's a lot like mobile Terraria in that sense because you have the touchscreen, you can do anything finicky with it, you can even build with it, but then because you also have the Nintendo Joy-Cons, you can have this hybrid gameplay where you're controlling the character and it feels very smooth, and then you can also just nip over to the touchscreen if you need it. It's fantastic. Now, I'll be the first to admit that the background gameplay is kind of boring because I just like to play handheld. Every time I had to dock the Switch up to record this, I wasn't having as good of an experience because when you're docked up and you've got a controller, it's kind of like an inferior version of the PlayStation and Xbox port of Terraria because it's just console Terraria and it doesn't look as good. So I've only played about 15 hours and I've played it all in Master Mode, but I'm having a really great time with the game. Because I'm not as good at Terraria with the controller, I feel like the gameplay is a little bit slower paced for me, especially compared to some of the stuff I can do with PC Terraria. But I actually really like that change of pace. Now, this might be the same for you, it might not, but I feel like when I play Switch Terraria, I want to have slower progression. So I've spent all of my gameplay in pre-hard mode. I've enjoyed a good bit of fishing. I've been really working on getting all of my accessories and getting really stocked up for what hard mode is going to be. I like that slower pace. Surprisingly, split screen has also been able to stick around, which blows my mind. Split screen wasn't in the launch edition of Switch Terraria, which actually put quite a few people off from what I've read. They did add split screen in a later update, but I feel like by then it was too late. The people that really wanted it probably didn't know about it being added. Well, it's here, it works. It's not for me, because I don't really like split screen anything these days. But it's great that it's there. So the last thing I want to mention in the good section, which kind of plays into the bad section as well, is that this game comes with tons of customization. So if you don't like the way something controls, there will be an option in the menu to change it. There are loads of different macros with the game, so if you want to get really nifty with how you control the game, you really can. You can tailor this game exactly how you like it. But we're going to talk about the bad. So not to sound overly harsh here, because I know they put a lot of thought into this, I don't really like the controls, and I didn't think I'd be somebody that actually said that. Here's the thing, when people have moaned about controls in the past, I do get where they're coming from, but there has to be changes as you implement more things into the game. You can't have such a simple control scheme as they did back in 1.2, but I really feel like they may have crossed a point now where they've overcomplicated some of the controls. I would say if you're somebody that's new to the game, this might not be the best experience for you because it is so complicated to do very basic things. But if you've played Terraria before, you know what to look for. You know, if you're looking for a certain macro, you'll probably be able to find it. But if I was a new player, I wouldn't have a clue how to quick heal. To quick heal, you need to press L and then slide the thumbstick to the right, I think. So the other negative is actually in regards to the UI somewhat. I'm not particularly a big fan of the fact that every time you open up the inventory, the screen shifts upwards. It's something that I didn't particularly mind when I first started playing, but over the hours, it kind of grated on me a little bit, surprisingly. But there is something good that comes of this, which I should have really included in the good section. You can now build out of inventory, which is, it's just such a game changer. I can't believe this wasn't added sooner. So you can have the inventory open, highlight an item, and just use it. So if you've got a bit of furniture, you can place it down, or if you've got a potion, you can drink it straight from the inventory. It's a game changer, and I really love it. Also, they did do a great change to the Goblin Tinkerer, which I feel like PC should maybe consider implementing as well. So when you interact with the Goblin Tinkerer, instead of giving you a little box where you place your item to reforge, it gives you a menu with every single item in your inventory that can have a potential reforge. So if you're a new player and you don't exactly know what can be reforged and what can't, the game will explicitly tell you, hey, you can reforge these. And I feel like that is a better system. So as you can hear, not a lot of bad things about Switch Terraria. I really do love this version of the game. Now, I want to give you some things that I'm actually looking forward to, things that have been confirmed and are potentially coming in 2022. First off, keyboard and mouse support. This is something that I thought this edition would launch with. It's fine because I don't really feel the need to use it right now, but I really can't wait until they implement that. So if I've ever got my Switch docked up on my desk, I can just plug in a keyboard and mouse and do some building, which I would really love to do. I still don't really like building with a controller. Hey, that's a limitation of controllers. So if I could plug in a keyboard and mouse, do some building, unplug it, go back to playing handheld, I'd really like that. Also, parity with all versions. We know at some point this is coming. I don't know at what point in the year, but they are actually working to get every single version of Terraria up to the exact same update. And with that, potentially comes crossplay. Now, they have confirmed it is something that they're hoping to do. They don't actually know if it's possible at this point. They're going to give it a go. And all I'll say is, DR, if anybody could do it, it's probably you. DR, if you are listening, something that I would love to see in the future, please look into this, is Steam/GOG cloud saving with the game. Here's the thing, when you play on a console, you are limited to only the maps that you've created, or maybe multiplayer maps that you've joined. You can't have access to the wider Terraria world, and with that, you're missing out on so much. For example, golf was added in 1.4, but if you aren't playing Chaos's and Sam's golf map, then you haven't really tried golf in Terraria before. I don't know if they could maybe add just that map to the Nintendo eShop as a free download. That would be incredible. But here's the thing, Witcher 3 actually has Steam and GOG cloud support, so I know it is possible. If you could do it, that'd be amazing. So for those in Europe, Nintendo is actually having a free trial of Terraria for those that pay for their online service. So this will actually begin on the 26th of January, and I think it lasts for about 5 days. And in those 5 days, you can play as much as you want. So if you've yet to pick up this version of Terraria, use that window to check out the game. I swear you will get hooked, and if you're a big Terraria fan, I would say this is a must-have if you're a Switch player. Now, to round off the video, let me just say thank you so much, DR Studios. Once again, you have brought a level of enthusiasm to the Terraria community that we're not exactly used to. At the end of the day, I'm not a full Terraria shill. I'll tell you straight up that the previous console versions before DR Studios were kind of garbage, and I'm surprised that so many people had such a good time with them. I guess it speaks to the quality of Terraria, not the port. But once again, DR Studios have delivered something that I never thought was possible, and as a huge fan of this game, I'm so grateful that I can play this on the go. Thank you, DR. Like, genuinely, you are the GOAT. Right, see you in the next one, guys. Peace.